Millions of people watched them together every single week. They laughed together, operated together, survived war together on screen. But behind the cameras of MASH, something very different was quietly unfolding. Because according to many stories from Hollywood insiders, there was one co-star that Alda reportedly could never fully connect with behind the scenes. And over time, the tension between them became one of television's most talked about off-camera conflicts. Honestly, what makes this story fascinating is that audiences never saw it coming. To viewers around the world, MASH felt authentic. The chemistry looked effortless. The cast seemed inseparable. But sometimes the strongest on-screen friendships hide the deepest creative frustrations. And the man at the center of that storm was reportedly Wayne Rogers. Before MASH changed television forever, Alda and Wayne Rogers were simply two ambitious actors trying to survive Hollywood. Alda came from a deeply theatrical family. His father was a performer, and from an early age, Alan understood both the beauty and instability of show business. Many believe that background shaped his intense dedication to storytelling later in life. Wayne Rogers, meanwhile, carried a completely different energy. Charismatic, confident. Before acting full-time, he reportedly studied history and even considered careers outside entertainment. But eventually Hollywood pulled him in, and by the early 1970s, he landed the role that would define his career forever, Trapper John. Then came MASH. At first, nobody truly knew whether the series would succeed. A comedy drama about war sounded risky for television audiences at the time. But almost immediately, something connected emotionally with viewers. The humor felt real. The pain felt human. And at the center of it all were Hawkeye and Trapper, played brilliantly by Alda and Wayne Rogers. Their chemistry became electric. In many ways, those early seasons remain the heart of the entire show. But here's what most people don't realize. Success can quietly change everything behind the scenes. As MASH became more popular, Alda reportedly gained increasing creative influence over the series. Writers began focusing more heavily on Hawkeye's emotional arcs. Alda started writing and directing episodes himself. Critics praised his performances constantly. Award nominations followed year after year. And according to people familiar with the production, Wayne Rogers allegedly began feeling sidelined. Many believe Rogers expected the show to remain more balanced between the two lead characters. Instead, the spotlight increasingly centered around Alda. Interviews years later suggested Rogers grew frustrated not only with screen time, but also with contracts and creative direction. Honestly, if you rewatch the early seasons closely, you can almost feel the shift happening in real time. And here's where the story becomes even more interesting. Despite all the rumors, the tension reportedly wasn't built around screaming matches or dramatic public confrontations. In fact, many cast members later described the set as professional most of the time. That's what makes the feud feel so human. Sometimes resentment grows quietly instead of explosively. But then came the turning point nobody expected. At the height of MASH's success, Wayne Rogers suddenly walked away from the series. Fans were shocked. One of television's most beloved duos vanished overnight. The media exploded with speculation. Some reports claimed Rogers felt trapped creatively. Others believed he resented Alda's growing control over the show. And although neither man fully embraced the hatred narrative publicly, the rumors followed them for decades. What makes this story different is that both men eventually found success in completely different ways. Alda became the defining face of MASH and later one of Hollywood's most respected actor-directors. Wayne Rogers reinvented himself brilliantly outside traditional acting, becoming a successful businessman and television commentator. Still, fans never stopped asking the same question. What really happened between them? And honestly, I think that mystery is part of why people still talk about this story today. Because beneath the Hollywood headlines was something deeply relatable, two talented people trying to protect their own identity while working inside a machine bigger than either of them. Midway through the series, audiences were laughing at the jokes and emotional moments on screen, while behind the cameras, careers, egos, and ambitions were quietly colliding. And maybe that tension is part of what made those performances feel so authentic. Because sometimes great art comes from uncomfortable emotions. Today, MASH remains one of the most beloved television series ever created. New generations continue discovering it decades later. The humor still works. The emotional moments still hit hard. And the chemistry between Alda and Wayne Rogers still feels unforgettable. That's the strange beauty of television history. Sometimes the people who struggle most behind the scenes create the magic audiences remember forever. But what do you think? Do you believe the tension between Alda and Wayne Rogers was exaggerated by Hollywood rumors? Or do you think there was real resentment behind the scenes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy cinematic stories about Hollywood legends, hidden feuds, and the untold side of fame, make sure to subscribe for more documentaries like this.